And it's like, I have the freedom not to wear a mask. You have the freedom to deny me service. Like, I should wear a mask because it protects people. Like that, to me, a lot of that argument is really there. It's like my freedoms stop when they start to harm somebody else.
Right.
So where is that line? And it's super fuzzy when it doesn't involve a fist and a nose.
Wow, so many things to say, but I'm the only one talking. Please, somebody else, please.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of perception around like what harm is, right? Like, and you made a good point with a fist to a nose, because there's still a lot of people that perceive harm as like physically being beaten up. There's like so many ways that like trauma is introduced into our systems, and how like emotional harm has long-lasting effects that can go beyond physical harm. So there's some people that still like don't even recognize that factor, and a lot of these people haven't had to deal with it because of their cultural or ethical or class status that they have. It's not a thing they've ever been exposed to, so it doesn't impact them, and they're legitimately not aware of it and like not willing to entertain that it's real thing for people. So
yeah, not willing to entertain that it's real is that's very much a, what do you mean racism still exists? We got rid of slavery years ago. That's where that comes from, right?
Right.
It's like people that have never been in a situation where they have to be on the receiving end of any kind of racism or sexism or anything like that. It's like we live in America now. What are you talking about? This is a free country now. We're good. Well, we did it. We beat them.
And like going back to the mask thing, like I was just in Sedona and I ran into this woman that I almost moved in with like several years ago, and we just were catching up, and she was like, oh, I'm healthy and I'd like to hug you, and I feel very healthy and I don't know anyone who's gotten sick. So I think that this is all a conspiracy to like keep me from connecting with other people, because I can't connect with them with just my eyes. And it's this very like this perspective coming from like, it hasn't impacted me personally, so therefore it's not real.
Yeah.
And
anecdotal thinking, man, is brutal. It's
I was like, wow, I really don't agree with you, is what I said in the moment. Like, I'm like, it was nice to see you, and now I'm like, think I'm done. But
we have another guest. I'm gonna go find them. You guys continue.
Go get them.
Go get them. Don't let them know exactly what we're talking about.
we were talking about Daniel's initial question of, I guess it started with the word crazy, yeah? Like, when it was somebody last week brought it up, like, is that a problematic word, and when is it a good and not good time to use it, and that kind of springboarded into where we are now.
I see. Yeah, it's not a good word. I don't think so. Even if it's like relevant and like the proper word to define what you're talking about, unless you're having a serious conversation about it. And if you're having a serious conversation about it, there's better words, more technical words to use for it. So
So to catch you up, the conversation then evolved into if the goal is to get people to stop using certain words, stop doing certain behaviors. So, for example, if the goal is let's get less people using the word crazy, a conversation like this is way more likely to just resonate with me, and then I will naturally use the word crazy less because this conversation sticks with me. And I'm way more likely to respond to that favorably, and I think most people are, after a conversation like this, versus just flat out telling somebody like that's bad and this is why, and you're bad for doing it, right? Very chastising them, which then goes back onto like how much is like how valid is your freedom of speech and how valid is my pain, and how, you know, like are you asking too much of me, and that kind of thing, and that's where things get really muddy and gray and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was having a conversation this morning about gender neutral terms.
Gender neutral.
Gender neutral terms like a
Terms.
dude or you guys.
Oh yes, I'm pretty guilty of saying you guys a lot.
I am
actually.
too. I think we all are. But
Yeah.
the thing is that like, is it valid for us to like put in the work to try to like redefine those terms? Because like even the term crazy can have a positive connotation to it. Like what's that? It's not like it's kind of romantic to say, oh, you drive me crazy, or like I'm going crazy thinking about you. You know what I mean?
That's a really good actually.
And so someone could say, oh, well, I said crazy and it's actually in a good way. And it's like, well, do we need to completely come up with a whole new vocabulary to respect these types of things, just like with you guys and dude, like, or oh man, like even using the term oh man, like what does that even mean? Where did that came from? Like, why do we call it out to a man when we're like, you know, frustrated about something? Like,
it's interesting how language evolves like that. Yeah, like. Some of the women in the room, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I have heard women say strictly to other gathered women, oh my god, you guys, I'm so happy to see you all, or something like that, or to refer to other women as guys.
Yeah.
And
but that, you know, and that's still a different conversation from someone who's in a group and non-binary and like speaking to me verbally, like, I really don't like being referred to as a guy, you know? And like, I think that's worthwhile to be like, oh my God, thank you. But there's a lot of people who don't want to voice that because of the labor it takes to like bring it up to a group of people and have people being like, oh, but I don't get that. Or like, you're just being sensitive. And again, going back to like gaslighting. So I don't know. Personally, I think it's worthwhile for me to like try my best if I don't know who's in the group to like not fall back on my, hey, you guys, or whatever. Hey, man. I feel like that's a worthwhile courtesy to like share with strangers and people I'm just meeting. So
I put in that
and
work,
if someone,
Kayla. I put in that work.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like in a live stream or something and it's a complete stranger, even with strangers I'll do it, and it takes a lot of extra work, especially when it's strangers, but like
it's hard.
On TikTok and live streaming like Twitch, like you guys, and actually it's really bad because they'll just be like straight up boys. They're using the term boys and they're like addressing everybody, and anytime I hear that, I always comment I'm a girl. And then it's so funny because they will say, okay, good, you're a girl. What does that have to do anything? And I said, oh, well, I'm just letting you know that I'm a girl. I'm not a guy. So if you're trying to address me, I'm here too. And a couple of people have actually said it. They're like, oh, you're right. Yeah, maybe I should use like y'all or you all. And I'm like, yeah, that would be great. You know, I feel inclusive of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that I thought about in this whole topic of like they or using these different words more mindfully was like people call me masseuse, and I hate it. I hate it. I'm a massage therapist. There's a really big difference. And every time somebody says that to me, I viscerally have a response. And then I have to put forth the labor of explaining it to somebody. And then I imagine like that I don't resonate with being a her or a him, and people like refuse to just call me they, which is actually pretty simple, you know? Yeah. And like masseuse is something I don't even have to deal with every day, but like gender stuff is something you deal with every day, multiple times a day. And people like gaslight you for it and tell you that you're wrong, or that like, oh, sorry, that's just too much labor for me to put in. And it's like, well, God, I wonder how you learn names if you just can't say they. Like, how do you remember everybody's names? It's really not a lot of labor.
Hey, you with the hair. Yeah, you.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, me. Sorry. My bad. I grew myself. No, Kayla, I'm actually gonna jump on this. I'm gonna put you on the spot. So, why does can you like kind of articulate for me like the issue you have with being called a masseuse versus a massage therapist? Like, can you run that down?
Yeah, masseuse is kind of a generic term and
Okay.
it has a connotation with like a bathhouse and like sex work. And sex work
That's
is separate from what I do. It's like a
yes.
valid profession and there is nothing wrong with it, but that is
Mhm.
not what I do. And because there is a connotation, I don't enjoy that. And I also like I spent decades and thousands of dollars like getting my education, and what I do is therapy.
Mhm.
And also I
Sure,
specialize in not just like massage. I specialize in craniosacral therapy. There's a lot more to it, and it is like, you know, a lot of times people who say masseuse are also making jokes about happy endings.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, no, and I mean all of that I kind of assumed, but like
okay.
to have it all like laid out like that, like so it's like it's this connotation, is this connotation, is this connotation, and this association, like all of that in a row. That's it's helpful. It's helpful to lay it all out like that, and to be.
And it's also like historical.
Sure.
Like it's not just a connotation. Like historically, there were like sexy massages happening in bathhouses.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was also therapeutic massage happening there. And not to say that sexy massage isn't therapeutic, because that is very valid. But that is like not what I do. And I think that, you know, as a professional in this country, it's important for me to have that distinction, because that's not a conversation I'm trying to have day in and day out.
Yeah.
You know, and if the line is not blurred, like in the whole of society, that makes me feel safer working with people I've never met.
It does feel way more formal to have a title of massage therapist. That immediately is just way, like, I feel like it does carry more weight socially, like the weight that I think that you're looking for it to carry. So hey, no, Kobe, no, my cat's on my keyboard. No, stop it.
Maybe
but there are other
trying to
massage therapists
contribute.
who like don't mind, you know, like a lot of them that I've talked to, a lot of my massage friends that I've talked to like really hate it. There are some who don't care as much. So, and then I was listening to Savage Lovecast the other day, and I actually like don't like Dan Savage as much as I used to now, because a woman
No.
called in about her brother who had multiple sclerosis or something like that. And she was like, I want to hook him up with, like, I want him to receive touch and have meaningful romantic relationships. And I don't know how to broach that topic with my brother. And Dan Savage legit suggested that he call a massage therapist for a full release massage. He was like, call a massage therapist so that they can get a happy ending. And I was like,
Yikes.
like, he was blurring the line. And he's very avid for sex work and like that being normalized, and I'm on board with that.
Sure.
But yeah, I felt like we took this huge step backwards.
Yeah. It's like within, it's like even within like tolerance, there's still like a lot of room to improve. Yeah.
I was like, if somebody called me asking about that, I mean, I would just say no. Maybe it wouldn't be such a big deal, but if I had like multiple people calling me in a week asking for that, I don't want that.
No, sure.
I want, you know, and I want sex work to be normalized so that it can be like this thing that you just call somebody for that. And that's
at
normal.
least this is great stream content, by the way. I don't think this is
yeah. Oh,
no, I'm not being sarcastic.
before.
I'm not being sarcastic at all. No. Like this is fiery. This is great. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. You know, it's good to normalize it. But then, okay, so with the normalization also comes with like the authentication. You know, like, because that's the problem, in my opinion. You know, I've actually got pretty strong opinions about sex work because it has negatively impacted my life personally through like personal relationships that I have. And so there are problems with it, but it's like the source of those problems was the lack of authenticity and the lack of like direct understanding of what the nature of that exchange was, because I feel like a lot of sex work comes with this like false sense of love that's, you know, not really negotiated and talked about and clearly expressed before that value exchange happens.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, we could talk about sex work. You guys want to talk about, or you guys?
Yeah, I'm like, and
Let's
that
talk about it. Let's
that
talk
is
about
the
it.
whole entire topic.
I mean, it's kind of up to Olivia at this point. I mean, like she's.
You're
Well,
first time here,
welcome,
Olivia.
so we're gonna jump right in.
No, that's great. That's fine with me. I'm really enjoying listening.
Cool, yeah.
Cool.
It's
Feel
funny
free to
because
contribute
most
if you
people,
want
their
to.
first time to come here, we like to shock them with like our poop talk. Like it's like, oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna
did you have
say.
a healthy bowel movement today?
Oh,
Like we,
yeah.
you know, we do.
I need-
We like to hold each other accountable with their bowel movements, but the tone of our topic today is a little different than usual.
I need to know which strain of leaf is going to help my Bristol stool scale the most. I think is what. I'm just kidding.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Olivia, do you live near Jeremy? Do you live?
Yes,
close?
we live probably less than 10 minutes from each other.
Oh, cool.
That's
awesome.
cool.
I've been to Terre
Yes.
Haute before. It's a good place. It's a very
Yeah.
cool place. I like it there.
Mm-hmm.
Very quaint. Now, what do you think about the tea?
I've been enjoying it. Right now I have matcha with me from him.
Okay.
And I have like the shaker infuser with me. So, but I've been enjoying it. I like it. And over the weekend, he was at the brewing supply place having like an open session, and I went and it was good. And I tried, was it like matcha with some ginger and like pineapple juice?
Oh, yum.
It was something, and it was good.
Yeah.
Just coconut milk, matcha, pineapple juice with ginger tea.
hmm
Oh, sounds great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Super refreshing.
But then there was some beer mixed with matcha too.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, dangerous.
That's always the big hit. Matcha beer, always.
Jeremy, I'm so stoked to hear that you're doing this stuff, you know, because like most, the only other place really, I'm honest, like the only other place that you're seeing like those types of things being done regularly is in New York City and like places where it's costing like, you know, at least $50 a person to go, you know, to this, you know, uppity little like innovative tea bar to have those types of things. And it's like, it should be a lot more ubiquitous and enjoyed in other places.
Basically, doing at the brewing supply shop where about 60% of his business is completely illegal.
Wait, are we talking about sex work again?
No, hey, I'm trying to get it back on topic.
Yeah, we heard about the brothel, Olivia, in Terre Haute, the famous
Oh,
brothel,
yes.
activated.
Oh,
a
oh
tea
yes,
brothel.
the brothel. Yes, of course.
A tea brothel, so it'll just be tea hose.
All right.
A harem of tea hose.
Oh, I have to step away for 1 minute. I'll be right back. I'm gonna step over here.
Okay. All right, we're just gonna assume that Daniel went to go take care of that healthy BM.
Right? He's all on that note.
Speaking of BMs, that reminds me.
I might need to get more hot water soon.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Drink
Going
it.
through my first pot of where.
I have been having like a lot of friends hitting me up about being in town. I just got hit up while I was on my phone call. I just got hit up by an old friend that I haven't seen in years. Are you in Vegas still? I'm in town. Let's meet up. And so I'm gonna go have dinner with them in a couple of hours. I'm like, what? Okay, cool, awesome. They're going
Nice.
to Meow Wolf. So that's gonna be another thing. Is that like everybody's gonna be going to Meow Wolf, which I'm like right next door to. It's like, yeah, you definitely have to stop by and drink some tea.
Your home or your business?
My business. So yeah, Tila, like where I am right now, it's right next to Meow Wolf.
I'm gonna go to Meow Wolf. No, I'm gonna go to Meow Wolf and I'm gonna come buy tea. I'm excited.
Yeah, easy.
Unless you
easy.
travel, then I'll wait till you get back. But
Yeah. Travel is hard. Travel is hard these days.
yeah.
Jeremy, you look like you're decorating your beard to go to like a music festival this week.
Yeah. Yeah, this week is very what are they called?
Sparkle
at Burning
ponies.
Man.
Sparkle ponies.
Yes, thank you. You sparkle pony.
But the thing, okay, so
You nailed it.
Sparkle ponies, like that's such a cool name, and like how Jeremy is, but like a true sparkle pony, it's like there's a lot more meaning to it than just like your appearance of like being over the top
Yeah.
with the glitter and all of that. Is like also meaning like you're like overly dependent on others.
Yeah.
Like you're like a sugar baby, and you're just like in this like state of like constant entitlement that everybody else needs to take care of you. So I don't think I would never ever
No.
coin Jeremy in that category ever. So
It's not a positive word, and I do acknowledge that. But the aesthetic of
yeah. Yeah, because like sparkle ponies, they get to that position because usually they're, you know, like really glittery and beautiful looking, usually sexualized. So that's like, I mean, if you had some pasties on, you would like that would seal the deal on your sparkle pony status.
he's all right here. I got these
They have like
pasties.
little tassels on them, like you...
I think I definitely missed part of that. Decided to take that call.
Okay.
Is this kind of tassels?
Yeah. How will you adhere them? I
I
love it.
don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm gonna go get more water. I'll be back.
Cool. Great. Well, Olivia, it's great to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we get to enjoy Jeremy so much. Like, he's like a pillar of this community, of this like event we do every week.
Aw,
it's really
awesome.
great. Like, some people say they watch the stream specifically to
Aw.
see what Jeremy is up to. Now, do you ever do like the tequila tasting and indoor climbing?
Oh, yes.
Oh, cool.
That's later tonight, Tequila Thursday.
Awesome. That's great that you can hang out together. Some siblings don't socialize together.
See, I have to spill the beans.
Okay.
We may have the same last name, but I'm not the sister.
Oh, you're not the sister. I'm so sorry because he was talking about a sister
Yeah.
earlier.
No, it's fine. I was just like, I'll just roll with it. You know, we have the same last name. Like, then I'm like, I gotta spill the beans.
Oh,
But
that's cool.
don't tell anybody else.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
When people come back, just play along until my actual sister shows up.
Well, you're actually her name's not Olivia, right? Because that'd be really confusing. That'd really take it. To the
No,
next level.
it's Lizzie or
Oh,
Elizabeth.
Okay. Sweet.
So, yeah, but we trying to get her to experience more teas. She's just stuck on matcha. She needs to expand her horizons.
Who, Lizzie?
No, this one right here, Elizabeth.
Olivia. Oh yeah, Olivia, you gotta get into it.
I know.
Hey, but that's
We
cool
met
because
through the
you're-
climbing.
It's
Go
cool
ahead.
that you're into the matcha because like a lot of people find that to be like an acquired taste because it's so strong, you know. So other teas will be a lot more like mild.
Yeah.
But you never do like the sandwiching with like different teas and like bourbons or whiskeys.
No, we haven't.
Sip. Yeah.
That's right. You haven't.
Mm-mm.
The guys at that brewing supply stop, like I've been working with two of those guys doing that.
Yeah.
I really want to try. I mean, yeah, I need to get into. I need to get into that real quick because if I come out in June to the nightclub expo, that'd be a nice product to pitch people.
For sure.
Isn't that like the bar and nightclub? Is that the one that they're sort of co-hosting or hosting nearby?
Yeah. You know, we should set up a bar here. I will have a bar set up here. And we can just have a station. You could just do all that stuff from here.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll do
You guys
all
get
that
more
stuff.
cocktails.
Yeah.
There's interesting I want to get, and I know I've been talking about this, but I think I have an end now because I met the house manager of a local restaurant. Actually, we met him last week, and the kitchen manager. And I think we were talking about this. When you go to like high-end restaurants, that they have the only uncaffeinated beverage they have is pretty much water. No, non-alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
Is water, and there really needs to be more sort of tea and food pairings. And it'd be kind of a perfect place. There's only about 3 like high-end restaurants in Terre Haute. And it would be kind of a perfect place to introduce that to them.
Yeah, I think
Just to
so.
give people one more option.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah. But cocktails, liquor. People aren't interested in matcha until I teach them really quickly how to make matcha beer.
Turn right around.
Everybody loves it.
I don't think I've ever had matcha beer. It sounds great.
Yeah, really, really easy. You just need to have the whisk in the bowl. I mean, that's the easiest, cleanest way to do it. So, the carbonation of the beer. Hold on. The carbonation of the beer actually naturally breaks up the matcha, so you have to do very little.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool.
You just pour like a little bit of beer in a bowl, like whisk it very gently into like a paste, and then pour it into the rest of the beer, and the carbonation breaks it apart.
That makes a lot of sense.
Do it.
Yeah,
we had this IPA, which is interesting because there was a guy there who he hates hops more than anything in his life. I think rye is the only other thing he hates more than hops.
What beer do you pair with a matcha?
Well, see, that's what we were doing IPAs, which was interesting because it's a perfect. It taps down the bitterness like perfectly.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I can see that.
Just like knocks it down a step or two, and then makes it a little bit more smooth. Traditionally, you do it with like a lighter beer, like a rice lager.
Okay.
Shoot. All right. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm meeting anyway.
Daniel,
So.
I've really only seen people use like really light lagers to do this, so I'm interested about this IPA idea. Because...
See, I mean, and mixing something into an IPA seems dangerous. Like it seems like it's a risk where, because IPAs, at least the IPAs that I like, are either like perfectly fruity as the way they are, or so bitter that I won't feel my taste buds for an hour, right? But that's what I want out of it. So mixing it with matcha feels like there could be something there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Fun experiments for sure.
Yeah, try it out. Do you have matcha, Daniel?
I do. Yeah, I got matcha.
Cool, try it out.
I don't know if I have any beers I want to mix it with here, but I do have matcha. Yeah,
that's cool. Where did you get?
Pick
matcha?
something next
Where'd
time.
you get matcha from?
I mean, I got it from Costco.
Uh-oh.
Right? Like, yeah, I know. I know.
That's not matcha.
No. Well, but I mean,
we gotta get you some matcha, Daniel.
I mean, I have a great tea distributor literally a block from me that I've been waiting to go to once the mask mandate, because the mask, I mean, all the COVID mandates, especially in Quebec, they're just so bad, right?
Yeah.
But I know.
Wait, which one are you referring to?
What am I referring to?
Which tea distributor? Is it a tea shop?
Oh, it's a tea shop. Yeah, it's a tea shop. I think they're called. Hold on, let me see if I can get their name. Actually, I don't know. I don't want people to dox me.
Let's not dox you.
It's literally a block away from my house.
Just message it to me. I'm curious. Or maybe if you want to say like, well, you said Quebec, but like several.
I'm in Montreal.
in Montreal. Oh, okay.
No. I'll link it. Hold on. All right, I'll share it. I'm not afraid.
Just share it in my message, and then when I read the message, I will have it on the stream. Don't worry.
Trolls can come at me. They can fight me if they want. They know where I live. You know,
Well, they're gonna be
you know where
like
to find me.
French Canadian trolls, right? So that's a little different.
Yeah. They don't care. As an Anglo in Quebec, they don't care about me. It's fine.
There's a really famous tea shop in Montreal that I visited before. It's beautiful. They have these strange rules though. Like you can't use your phone or have your phone on. Like they don't allow more than 2 people at a time to sit at a table. So you can't like go with a group of friends. This was even before the pandemic. And then they had like a bell at the bar where like the servers that are preparing the tea, like if the noise level gets to a certain point, they'll like ring the bell and everybody knows like shut up.
I want to implement that in my daily surroundings. I'm just saying. No, I don't want to govern other people's noise levels, but I'm very sensitive to
Well, then I
loud
asked,
noise.
I met the owner because I'm friends with the owner of that shop, and I was like, how can you get away with that? Like, if someone tried to open up a shop like this in the U.S., like, they would get like so much heat for, trying to control the culture that much. And he says, well, like our culture here is just like people resonate with that. Like the French Canadian like resonate with that kind of like structure and like, knowing that that's going to be the kind of environment that. Would you agree with that, Daniel?
Yeah, sure. There's without going too much into it, Quebec feels like the French language and the French culture is kind of under assault from the rest of North America right now, which makes sense because they're literally surrounded by English provinces and an entire English country to the south of them, and people like me that insist on living in their province and trying to learn French, but I'm still very not good at it. And so they're very defensive of anything that has to do with their culture, and they welcome those kinds of like anything that celebrates just culture in general. They're very welcome to it. So if the sign on the door says no phones, they're down. If the sign on if someone stands up and says, hey, quiet, like they're fine with it. It's like, okay, yeah, that's just how it is here.
Oh my god, I love that. Sorry. I'm like, I would love to be able to stand up in a room and be like, be quiet, please. And people would be like, oh, wow, we got a little loud there. But that's not the culture I live in. No.
Well, the
other day I was at some ruins outside of Sedona, and I legit told a little boy to be quiet.
How did that go?
He, for a moment, was like, who's that? Because I was not near him. I was like far enough away you could hear echoes. And he was just like, who is that? A couple times, and then he quieted down. And it was like, don't talk. It was like, please stop screaming at this like quiet, beautiful nature site. Like, talk it like a normal child voice. Yeah. Which can be louder and playful and stuff. But anyways, I digress. Welcome. Ansuman, did I say?
Yeah, that's right. Hi.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome.
Ansuman is new to Topia. This is his first time here, but he is working on a project to get a piece of music that will be 1,000 years long. And he's also working on a project. I can't remember the name of the museum that you mentioned in London, but around bringing people together for tea to talk about kind of the dark sides of tea that we've had many conversations about.
Oh, excellent. Well, you came to the right place.
Yeah, welcome.
I seem to have just fallen into the right place. Yeah.
So cool.
It's amazing. I literally, I'd never heard about this until about 20 minutes ago. And here I am.
So did you hear about the tea
Actually,
house
I have another thing that is a thing called Kinky Salon, which is a bunch of crazy freaks.
So Polly Superstar.
Polly's a great friend of mine, yeah.
Oh, she's a good
In fact,
friend of
it's
mine
through
as
her
well.
that I organise parties in London, and I just saw on the Slack site Polly mentioned Topio, so I thought let me check this out. And
I'm
it seems
talking
to
to
be
Polly
relevant.
about doing a party.
Wow.
Sorry.
I'm talking to Polly about doing a party in our dungeon, and
Oh well,
Elise
that's why
is
Polly
the one who
mentioned it on
introduced
the-
us.
Okay, well there you go. I really did come to the right place.
I'm like, wait, you have a dungeon like in your house?
Yeah, wait, what? What am I
Back
missing?
up. No.
Yeah, you're in it now.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm present.
I'm here for it. Let's go. I mean, shameless.
Oh, this is great. So Sam, you did reach out to Polly.
I reached out to Polly. She and I are going to connect tomorrow.
Great. Good.
Oh, great.
Yay.
Well, say hi from me. Say you met Ansaman.
I will.
I would say like Polly has probably like built like the most like enthusiastic, tight-knit community around like the sex positive movement that I've ever been exposed to. Even like of all of the different communities in Burning Man that I've met. And she just moved to Vegas. I'm in Vegas, so that's how I met her. She moved
Right.
here and we have mutual friends that connected us. And I'd never gone to any kink salon events. I was gonna start pouring tea. Well, actually, I was gonna host one. She wanted to rent out my warehouse to host one of her events, and it just didn't work. Like the needs weren't fitting for what I have to offer here in this space. But I never
Right.
had a chance, and then COVID happened. But Polly's really resourceful. She figured some stuff out. She like built her own little like kink marketplace platform and really kept the community together. So I'd love to see this platform being used. I think it could be a really great tool.
Well, she built this whole hub and kind of party portal, which we've been using, and we've run a couple of parties. I mean, I'm based in London, but it doesn't really matter where you are. But we've been running some parties, and it's just now I saw this message from her saying, maybe there's a better place to have these parties. So I thought I'd come and check it out.
Yeah, and you can create. It's very easy to create your own worlds and insert your own artwork and do. Like the dungeon that Sam's talking about was built by somebody else with different artwork, but you definitely could create your own and. Still use the hub for the communications and everything, but like for the actual like interactivity of the, physical visual event, this is a really great platform for that.
Yeah, this is much prettier and richer and more customizable than anything that is there in the Kinky Salon party portal.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is great.
Yay! I'm really glad that connection is working out because like I was a little afraid. I was like, I know that Polly's been like building some stuff and like investing a lot in that, and I like kind of moving to a new platform is always kind of cumbersome, and sometimes people aren't receptive to that, but yeah, I think it'll be great. And Sam is like the event he's talking about. Could potentially help you reach out to a wider community of like-minded folks as well, which is always good.
Yeah. It's great. There's already a Burning Man kind of community, right, around here. There's a whole, it looks like, I just kind of came in, I saw something about a burn.
Well, this was one of the multiverse platforms that Burning Man used.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, there's like a built-in Burning Man art here that's, you could already use it,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but I'm curious about your tea project.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, it just came to mind because I'm working on this thing at the Horniman Museum in London, it's in South London. It's a museum that's a couple of 100 years old now, started by Frederick Horniman, who was one of the big tea traders. So I'm doing a project which is part of a range of things. I'm going to be the time sculptor there, so I'm going to live in the clock. There's a clock tower at the museum. I'm going to live in there and try and stop time. But I'm also inviting people to come and drink tea with me. They're going to come and take high tea because it's looking at the links between tea and the opium trade and what happened between China and the East India Company and the kind of colonial trade routes, and various connections with other objects in the museum.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about other things in the museum and working with the curators. And there's a huge resurgence of interest suddenly certainly in Britain, people looking at trying to decolonize, our institutions, the great British institutions, because the UK is in this kind of psychosis at the moment with Brexit and sort of crazy right-wing patriotism, and at the same time as suddenly waking up to the extent of racism that's around. So I'm just inviting people to come and drink tea to just taste all those issues in a different way in the museum.
That's like everything that you just described there is like been like my work, like every breath of my life for the past 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And tea, especially high tea and British style tea, is still colonized. It's still colonized.
Yeah.
In a very big way. There's human trafficking, there's indentured labor, and a lot of like really unethical, unsustainable agriculture practices going on. And any tea that's in a tea bag or, used for like, convenient, fast, affordable tea. But there's a woman in London from Guizhou, China, that is like working very similarly, like how I work to decolonize tea. I would like to introduce you to her. Her name is Ray, and she's got an organization called Grass People Tree. She used to run a tea house in a boat, but I think she moved off of the boat. But she's still very active there in London. I think that she would be a really great resource and partner, and she could help you like with the tea itself, like potentially like offer the tea and help you with the tea service and really talking about the colonizing elements of tea, because it wasn't just the British that colonized it. Like, it's the entire world, and it's an entire mindset that the entire world really has to move itself into before we just magically decolonize these things that we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, it's a kind of template for globalization and the global drug routes, I guess, and control of populations. It's an amazing hologram, I think. I know. I'd love to meet her.
Yeah, she just did her very first class today on cultural appropriation in tea. She's actually never addressed it before. We talk about that a lot here in this space, about like how do we respectfully practice or teach about or introduce a culture that's not our own. Because there's a lot of missteps being made in that direction. When you take something and make it your own without respecting the original culture and the evolving culture of it. And she gave a really, really great presentation today. It's like an hour long. I can send you the link to that as well. And she even does workshops now about how like tea merchants can do their part in decolonizing tea, and a lot of it has to do around language, like what we were talking about earlier, about like there are certain terms that we use, like Ceylon or like Oriental beauty, or I don't know, there's a lot of terms that were from the colonial time, that if we really want to decolonize, like that could be a first step, and making people aware of the history of things. Because a lot of these terms go ahead, sorry.
No, you just made me remember something that I read a while ago about that was tracing through language the different routes that tea has taken through in different languages, whether it's called chai or cha or te or tea. And by sort of doing some sort of reverse linguistics, reverse etymology, people have been able to trace the routes that the particular trade routes that tea's taken.
Yeah, so it was any place where tea culture or tea itself was traded and expanded via sea, particularly by the Dutch. The Dutch traders were the first ones that started bringing tea from China by boat to Europe. They
Right.
misinterpreted cha. Either they couldn't say cha, they didn't remember cha, or by the time they got back and they said, oh, what is this? They said, oh, this is te. And so it turned from te. So anywhere where tea spread and moved by boat, it's some derivative of te. Or any place where it moved by land, which would be through the Middle East, into Africa, all throughout Asia, it's some derivative of cha.
Yeah.
It's like we know in England it was Tay because in the poetry of Alexander Pope he would rhyme his Tay. Like
Oh,
there's
really?
there's this great couplet from Alexander Pope. I never quite understood it. It said, "Soft yielding minds to waters glide away, to sip with nymphs the elemental Tay." So we
Okay.
know in the 17th century it was definitely Tay because of the poetry. But I still haven't deciphered that line yet. Soft yielding minds to waters glide away, to sip with nymphs the elemental Tay. So
Jeremy's over there like good vibes.
Good
Hey.
Man, the good vibes unicorn with reciting poetry is
Yeah.
just.
Don't be fooled
Who's
by
that-
his
who's that in
Sparkle
post?
Disney appearance. He's actually very, 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 very intelligent.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
On a quick side note, I have to say, Olivia, I love your like golden theme. It's like your topi is yellow and your like mirror and then your
Thank you.
hair.
Thank you.
But back to the
So are
poetry.
you guys kind of regular? You've been hanging out here for a while,
Over a year.
regularly,
Every week. Twice a week, actually.
twice a week for a year.
Yeah.
Well, I'm new, but they have, yeah.
This is my first time too.
Oh, is it? Oh, great.
And then
So,
we
but you got here before me.
I'm not sure if Sam let you know, but I also stream on Thursdays. I stream this to the internet, and so we have other people participating in these conversations via Twitch or Facebook or YouTube as well.
Sam just mentioned that. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Elise, speaking of Twitch, that's where I sent you the message of the tea shop. I need you to do that because
okay,
I need
cool.
to I need to do better and I need your help. So please take a look.
Let me
and
see if
let me
it's
know.
good. I mean, there in Montreal, there is a really great tea shop, and as much as I'd love
It is.
to, as much as I'd love to help you with getting you good tea, it's just like it's really hard across the border, especially like for some real reason. We're so close to Canada. We have such good relationships with Canada, but like shipping from the U.S. to Canada is extremely expensive.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's kind of why my job exists, but we can go into that another day.
I've never heard about this shop, but it looks legit. It looks
Yeah.
legit.
I've been there a couple of times. It's nice.
So wait, Jeremy, who's Alexander Pope? I've never heard that name.
Poet. Was it late 17th century? I think early 18th century. He wrote this epic satirical poem called "The Rape of the Lock," which is this mock heroic poem. He wrote an amazing extensive poem called "The Essay on Man." He was actually a fascinating character because it frustrated me when I read an article about people stopped reading him in the particular university class because he was a white male. Like he was part of the patriarchy or however they termed it. But this was a guy who was a Catholic when going to mass was illegal. He was tiny, he was deformed, he had a massive hunchback, and he only was able to write his poetry because he was the patron of a duchess, and I forget which one. So this is a guy that has the most fascinating life of, basically a prejudice and hatred directed his way, and he wrote the most amazing poetry. So he's a fascinating guy. But it was so frustrating me hearing that he got lumped into the white males of the ancient poetical world, and so we should stop reading him. But yeah, I don't. What was the other poem? There's one other epic work he wrote. I forget the name of it. Yeah, but if anybody can decipher that line, what soft yielding minds are, you know, or maybe that should be the next topic. Has anybody ever figured that out? This one couple that is inspired by tea. What does it mean?
What? Can you say it again?
What?
Can you say it again?
Soft yielding minds to waters glide away, to sip with nymphs the elemental tea.
To sip with
nymphs.
With mint. Oh.
No, nymphs.
Mints.
NYMPH. Nymph.
Nymph.
Nymphs, like yeah,
like the forest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forest
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it's kind of in a way, it's a rather beautiful imagery around tea.
Mm-hmm. Which it deserves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I didn't know
fairies have been
nymphs
associated
drank
with
tea.
for a long time.
Well, they did with Alexander Pope.
Yeah, clearly.
I drink with fairies. I got one. Right
Until
here.
his mind slipped away.
I got a fairy riding a horse. All the
What
horse
kind of
needs
tea fairy?
is what are these things called? What is that called? Horn. What is it called? Is that
The unicorn?
the actual horn?
Oh,
What is that called? Just a
The
horn.
unicorn horn.
The horn.
Unicorn
just
horn?
a horn.
Just
think.
a horn.
Antler, not an antler, but a horn. I don't know what's it
Well, it
called
was a
in the narwhal.
narwhal tooth. A
Yeah,
narwhal tooth,
Exactly.
actually.
Yeah, we're all fairies. Once we started drinking tea together, we all became fairies. That's what Don said. Don's watching. He says I'm a fairy. He drinks lots
Oh,
of tea.
Don in Arizona.
Yeah.
Cool. What's up, Don?
I'm totally gonna have a party where we all get to dress up like fairies and drink tea together. I'm gonna do that.
That's like how I met you.
Well, I've done it before. I dress up like fairies
Yeah.
all the time, but you know.
Is there a difference?
Well, speaking of
would
tea
you say
fairy, look who showed up.
Ah! Oh, did your tapestry change again?
I did. Well, not again. It's the same one.
Oh, okay.
What is there a distinction between fairies and nymphs?
I think there is.
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
I think nymphs have like a tree-like quality or like an elemental.
Yeah.
I mean, fairies
Nymph
can
is a
as
Greek
well,
word.
but yeah,
Fairies
Joe, what do you know
like-
about nymphs?
It
I
seems
think-
like fairies are like water imagery, and nymphs are more woodland type.
A nymph is also what you call one of the stages of a like a damselfly or a dragonfly, isn't it?
I think so.
Oh.
Google this.
I have to say that's something I love about the UK, the way people speak. They say, "Isn't it?" They'll say something and then like, "And isn't it?" And I'm like embarrassed that I start to adopt that, like when I'm in a group and that's being said. But I just love it. That's all.
Oh yeah, don't you say that?
I think there's like an ominous and like almost seductive aspect to fairies, whereas I think nymphs are a little bit.
Why do we have to sexualize the fairies?
I didn't mean sexual.
I have a thing I
Seduction
want
goes far
to
beyond sexual.
share. I don't know how I can share it with all of you though. I'm gonna find it real quick. Maybe I can give it to Elise to.
Like
Put on, yeah, I can put it
like
on.
hypnotic. You
Oh,
know?
I have a
I
phone
think
call.
that,
Excuse
yeah,
me.
You might be right, Joe. You are right. You are absolutely right in saying that like seductive does not always imply sex, but just like with like we were talking earlier in this conversation about like the power of words and like
Oh yeah.
cultural understandings of particular words and how we interpret them. And so like I think seduction. What do you think about that, Daniel?
About which part?
About like seduction, like how I immediately assumed that like Joe was like sexualizing fairies by using the word seductive when he's right, it's not. But I think hypnotic is a
It's not?
more understandable word to.
It definitely adds. Yeah, it definitely adds a little bit more clarity to what I'm talking about if I say hypnotic rather than seductive.
I mean, isn't that the literal definition of the word? To seduce, to entice someone into sexual activity. So if you're calling something seductive, like, isn't that just a definition thing? Like,
I don't think it actually has anything to do with.
I
can find out.
Yeah, I love going to the.
I think if you look up the word seduce as a verb, I believe it is literally entice someone into sexual activity. I think that's.
No,
I mean, it's the main of the three definitions.
It says a tempting or attractive thing. The action of here. Let's see. Look
up seduce is what I'm like root word.
But you can. It's connected with reduce and deduce, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lead astray, usually by persuasion or false promises, to persuade to disobedience or disloyalty, to carry out the physical seduction. So the third one listed here is entice to sexual intercourse.
Right.
It definitely is a application of the word.
Right. And so what I would do in this situation with the word is consider how is it most often used.
Right.
And then consider
that's why I said hypnotize maybe would be a little bit more accurate in what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I know about fairies, that's kind of what is going on there. There is kind of there's a hypnotic and almost ominous. Like they weren't seen as like Tinkerbell in most folk cultures. They were definitely a little bit more serious and even a little bit more dark. So,
well, in Midsummer Night's Dream, Puck is and the fairies are quite kind of mischievous.
Right. Yeah.
Knocking pails of milk over and making people fall over in puddles and stuff like that.
I hope I have all of your consent. I just sent you all a little message of this thing I stumbled upon on Etsy since we're talking about fairies.
Oh, you can message on Topia. Hold on.
Yeah, and nudity warning. But I just stumbled upon this, and it was like somebody's really making these, and there's a lot of them.
Oh wow! They are Jesus. Some of these are
all
very.
Ages. There's like men and women, and
they are very explicit.
Wow.
I'd like to introduce Don's contribution to this particular conversation. He says, nymphs are generally regarded as personifications of nature. They are typically tied to a specific place or landform and are usually depicted as beautiful maidens. Fairies are seductive historically. They want to take you away and they use seduction with music and food. But it may be more like the first or second definition that you had about like not involving sex, but like trying to like
disobedience and mischief.
Yeah. And he says fairies are not a good thing historically.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Is they're kind of they're ominous to some extent. They're they're
mischievous as.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you don't drink tea with them. Only with nymphs. Only with nymphs. Got to be careful.
Yeah, the nymphs are like an embodiment of the spirit of a mountain or of a forest or Yeah.
And never a siren because we'd have to ring the bell for them to be quiet.
That's a different story.
Oh, Joe, were you not here? They were talking of a tea shop where if is it in Canada? If the noise level gets too high, they'll ring a bell like, "Hey, everybody."
Yeah, I want to find this place now, actually.
Yeah, it's very important to specify that it's in Montreal, Canada. It's in Quebec, because like
I
don't think that would fly in other places of Canada. Just like fly here.
No, Toronto's just worse than New York City. So.
Yeah, as far as I know, Quebecians identify as their own nation almost. So.
Yeah, nation within a nation. No, but actually though, it's in the Constitution or whatever of the thing.
But yeah, just like Joe didn't come to Tea Talks the other week because, his mouth was numb from the dentist. The same reason you'd have trouble at that tea shop, Joe, because they'd constantly be ringing that bell for you. Like, quiet down.
Well, see, that's the thing. If I go by myself, so it's interesting because as much as I do talk, I don't make much noise when I'm by myself. So if I go to the tea shop by myself, I'll be dead silent, just watching, you know.
Yeah.
But if I go with somebody, I immediately want to, you know, start some discourse and start talking about life and stuff. So I just have to go alone and I'd be all right.
Which will be easy because they don't seat more than 2 people at a table in this place.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's a very serious tea shop.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what we were talking
Sounds
about.
like it.
Do you have any inkling into the name?
It's
What
called,
it's called?
Camellia sinensis. But the reason why I even brought up that story is I believe that they closed that one down. But I think they're going to be opening up somewhere else.
Oh,
yeah,
never
they had
mind.
to close that one down, I heard. But it's called Camellia sinensis. I think they have some other shops open. I mean, that's probably going to be like the highest standard for tea quality in Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go anywhere, right? I mean, I live in the city, so I mean, if it's here,
I
I'll
think
go.
it'll
I'll
be
go.
accessible. I think there's 3 of them that you can go to. So they've been open for a very long time.
Cool.
The owner is like a mentor of mine. Yeah.
You guys want to see my basic Procreate practice?
Yeah.
Show me your art.
Cool.
I'm doing bananas.
Ooh.
I'm like,
Nice.
how do layers work? Is where
Wait, is that
I'm
with the
at.
pen? That's with the pen?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You only need 2 layers, background and foreground.
But I want to like move the things around, and yeah, I mean you can do that with select. I like just did my first tutorial today, so I'm like
Okay.
first day beginner.
You having
They
fun though?
look great.
Thanks. Yeah, I am having fun.
Excellent.
I'm like blown away. I'm like there's so much you can do on here. I don't even know where to go.
Yep. Technology's pretty cool.
Like my favorite thing so far is this liquefy. Let's see if I can get it on here.
Okay.
It just like, oh, it's not a good spot for it. Is it working? No. Sorry guys. I'm making
What's it supposed to do?
It's a can't be used with alpha layer. I have to unlock these layers real quick. Okay. Nope. It adds an effect.
Okay.
That's my buddy just got into.
There we go. It's like
Oh wow.
Whoa.
spiraling everything.
Whoa.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's a very abstract banana now.
It's like those artists that were in your studio the other day, Elise, or 2 months ago, that were doing the paint pouring.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make that effect. That's cool.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Cool.
Yeah, that just reminds me. My buddy just got into video editing, and he's got a drone, and he's been like taking footage of him out in the woods and stuff. And he's just like, at some point, you just have to stop because there's like too much cool shit you can do. And he's like, you eventually just have to put it down because you could just keep going forever and not even. You just.
That's why I like the goal of Topia, because everything's just like stylized, simple, black and white.
Yeah.
I can be like, I'm going to work on shading for like 5 weeks.
Kayla, did you ever imagine that you'd have so much fun procreating?
If you're not,
I
think procreating can be lots of fun.
We gotta sexualize everything, at least.
Hey, procreation has
What?
nothing to do with sex. Sexualization.
What are you talking about? So we're talking about creating as a professional. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about professionally creating.
But
Oh.
does the procreate, does that word in the dictionary directly associate just with like biological procreation, or could it?
I mean,
Right.
probably. Let's look.
This
Yeah,
is cool.
I
We're
love
talking
that
a
we
lot
always
about words.
look
Yeah.
up words. Yeah.
Of
My
people,
favorite
of
thing.
people are animals to produce young to reproduce. Yeah, it's.
To
I mean,
beget or bring forth, propagate
it-
offspring.
Yeah, like it's.
So it's interesting that software is called that, you know.
Totally.
it's for making babies.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. You know,
Art babies.
when I was doing my live stream on Friday night, I was talking about fertility. So I was talking about procreation and not procreation for like 3 hours. And I read all these academic papers and stuff. And You know, so a question that came from Reddit that was really interesting was somebody asked me to comment on what I thought of asexual people that want to be parents. And I said, this is a great example of the separation between fertility and sexualization, you know, and how they're very separate things. They don't. It's like, yeah, it's very interesting. That was such a cool question. It was like, yeah, someone who's asexual totally could want to be a parent and be an incredible parent and go through that process with never ever having to, you know, cross any boundaries with their asexuality. It's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like being a straight cis person, maybe I shouldn't be, but I feel like if you're in a homosexual relationship and you want to have children, I feel like it's a similar abstraction, right? Because sexuality is very different from having a family unit, having a child, right? They're distinct and separate, but they're still both part of your life, right? So yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, there's really one way. Well, to the biological method of creating a human child requires a male and a female.
But not not sexuality.
Right. They don't necessarily again, like doing this without the intervention of science requires intercourse.
No,
that
you can go into a cup and then put that into a syringe that goes in, and people do this in their homes without a doctor all the time.
Yeah.
Are you trying to make a general case, or are you trying to
no. I
specific?
mean, I guess you're right that if it can be done at home without any fancy equipment, then I will stand corrected. No problem.
Well, I think requiring what it requires isn't necessarily the same thing as like maybe the symbolism behind the whole deal.
What was the word? The what behind the whole deal?
The symbolism. I mean, there definitely is a symbolic. There's a symbolic aspect to the how do I put it? I don't want to use the word sexual, but to the sexual production of you know, or for the
conception.
Yeah, I mean, just there's a symbolic aspect to two beings coming together in some form of like ceremony that is intercourse, and then procreating from there. Not having that, I'm not saying that I know, you know, that will affect things directly, but I think there is something to be said for the symbolic aspect of sexual intercourse.
But it doesn't make a difference because, you know, conception, the actual conception, the fertilization, and then the you know, what do you call that? The actual what's the word? Implantation, like where the actual like embryo attaches itself and becomes a proper pregnancy. All and then the sex, all of those events happen at very different times. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? It's not like this magical thing that like, oh, we just had sex and we both orgasmed at the same time.
Absolutely.
We just magically made a baby. It's like, no, like that moment happened then, and then maybe a week later is actually when the fertilization happens. You know, which is interesting because then that changes the whole, you know, perspective on that whole thing.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that, but I don't think that the sexual intercourse, that the symbolic sexual intercourse should be discounted as having some sort of effect on what's going on. Like, there's definitely an energetic thing going on as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like, if you like artificial implantation and
I might have lost the thread of this conversation. What are we talking about? No, but actually, like, what? No, like, I mean, I get the themes that are going around, but what are we trying to say or not say? Like, what? You know?
I'm not really trying to say anything other than.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just kind of exploring the topic of it. there's something to be said for, like, people are like, oh, well, you can just artificially inseminate something. It's the exact same thing as if you were to have sex, and I don't agree with it because I think there's an energetic aspect.
If your desired results is the production of a child, procreation, that's what we're talking about here, right?
Right. If that's all that you're talking about,
here.
yeah. I'm talking about the being that ends up.
So okay, so say that to a lesbian couple that has like extreme trauma response to like the male body or the idea, the feeling, or even just the energetics of thinking about a penis being inside of them, right? And then try to tell them you're not like basically like you're not worthy of having procreation because
no, I never said that.
You're not gonna
I don't
or that the procreation that you or the conception that you've created is like somehow less because of the energetic component.
Sure.
Because you use like a dropper instead of
I don't think that's the point he was trying to make at all, actually. I do not think that was the energy he was putting out there. No.
Right,
I'm like having trouble following the thread also, like when Daniel was like, wait, what are we talking about? I was like, I'm not quite sure I'm understanding what's being said. But that's what comes up for me, kind of tagging on to what Elise was responding to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love
but I am hearing that you're talking about like the energetic union of two bodies coming together.
Yeah, that was
and
really all
that
I'm trying to bring attention to. Is there is definitely a deep energy there.
Joe, I actually personally, for me, from my perspective, for my culture, for my life, I'm with you for my life.
Right.
But to say that that's like the ultimate truth about procreation, that could be very offensive to people that do want to procreate and are asexual or are.
Well, I don't think I was trying to draw an ultimate conclusion.
Okay.
No,
right.
I don't think it was trying to draw one. No.
Yeah.
There is the energetic bond though that happens between two people is important for producing a loving atmosphere around the creation that's born in that atmosphere. So sex might be one of the ways that kind of loving atmosphere is created, but there may be many other ways,
right?
Like having a cup of tea together.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like
bringing it back to the tea. I love it.
Oh, we make tea all right. We make tea every night.
You might miss out on something by not having that sexual union, but it's not that it can't be found somewhere along the way. I think.
Well, and I think we're trying to draw a distinction between sexual union and procreation, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I mean,
because you can still have like sexual union with your partner and that energetic connection with them, and also procreate and be asexual, or I guess asexual is not. I have a like loose understanding of asexuality and like demisexuality and how that plays into reality, like certain people's realities. But I digress.
But yeah, Joe, I mean, like tagging on what you said, like for like same-sex couples that do want to have children, up until about like 10 years ago, their only option was the sperm clinic, where like the experience was like this like anonymous like very like sterile thing where like there was very little room for energetic exchange. Maybe not between the couple, like whenever they inseminate, maybe the couple, a lot of times the couples do have intimacy together while they inseminate with this other person's bodily fluids to get the deed done, right? But like if you're talking about the energetics between the owner of that bodily fluid going into you, it's really hard in that sterile environment. It's impossible because it's an anonymous person. You don't even know where that bodily fluid came from.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But in the past 10 years or so, like when I was doing my fertility presentation research, I found that there's this whole movement of like known donors, and it's like online, and you can
I think it's beautiful. That's
people and like develop friendships with these donors, and then you could have a cup of tea before
you're creating that family dynamic. Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful.
But a lot of times these donors don't want to be fatherly figures, and like the couple, the lesbian couple wants to like sign off like parenthood to the other partner, so like the father is not a father, he's a donor, but they can
Right.
still be friends. They can still create that trust and that connection and have that cup of tea together before, you know,
Right.
they donate, you know.
Yeah, you're developing a new type of relationship rather than the standard father type relationship. Yeah.
I've heard there are like catalogs of books that you can flick through of potential donors.
Yeah.
I know someone who's flicked through one of those books and chosen a donor, and then you really do have you choose to create a connection, but it's not sexual. It's,
So that further, you know, just or backs up like so Daniel, for your question, like the original thing that like I think I was one that brought this up. I'm the troublemaker that did it, but like my original intent with taking us on this like little side thing, you know, from
Side quest.
Kayla's software is that there is a very like distinct line between sex, gender, and sexuality. And like,
absolutely.
these have all been like really great examples to see like in real use how that line is defined, because
Sure.
yeah, in mass culture right now, everybody confuses everything, and you know, like it creates problems.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of the problem with at least the way we're using language today is that we kind of have too many words that mean the same thing, and we kind of have too many words that we use interchangeably to talk about one thing, right? So like sex and gender, for example, like when people use that interchangeably, like we have to take a step back and be like, let's define our terms before we can even have a conversation about it. Otherwise, it just goes off the rails, right?
Yeah.
We have to say, this is what I mean by sex, this is what I mean by gender, and then we have to all come to a consensus. Otherwise, I mean, you know, think about the tangents you can go off of when you misunderstand one word, right?
Otherwise, shit gets crazy.
Yeah.
There's so many benefits to reductionism, but that is definitely one of the flaws. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's a lot of the discussions I have, or like we could even look at it like I'm creating content, educational content, based around tea, to share the concept of tea with my community, and I have to start with the vocabulary first. Teach anything about tea until you know what I'm talking about. You know, we say tea and it means like 5 different things. So
Right. A lot of people come in here and that's one of the first things. It's like, what is tea?
Mint
I'm drinking
tea.
tea. I've got a cup of chamomile right here. It's wonderful tea.
I got a
Right.
I
yogi
love
tea.
that.
My message says I was gonna look up a word.
Now here's the motherfucking
Oh,
tea.
Here.
There's a the
Here's the
NFT.
motherfucking tea. Oh man, that's my
So that's
favorite.
the MFT, not the NFT.
Yeah, that's the MFT.
The MFT. Cute.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man. And Simone, were you expecting this? Were you expecting to meet a little crew in here?
I was going to bed, and I thought, let me just check out what's happening on. Well, let me check out what's happening on Slack, because Polly wants me to do something, and then I find myself here in a tea shop. I really wasn't expecting this, and yeah, but it's amazing. I mean, I love it. I love them. I'm going to try and find that Alexander Pope tea couplet, and I'm going to think very carefully about the sexualization of language, and maybe have a go on Procreate.
You know, tea is highly sexualized, and that's like part of this whole decolonization of tea movement. You know, a lot of, especially like women in the industry, are working really hard to desexualize tea, because it's done a lot of harm to the feminism, you know, of the tea industry and the craft and practice of tea, because you know, because tea has been sexualized and women have been sexualized, and then women in tea have been sexualized, so the position for women in tea is not as a boss, is not as a leader. Like, I'm the only like tea boss that I know that like I go to places and it's just like all men, like old men that, you know, control everything and, you know, mansplain.
Are you in the tea industry?
Yeah, I'm
You're
a
a
tea importer.
professional.
I'm a tea importer.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I exclusively work
So
with small
I'm
family farms. I don't work with any
Right.
factories or large scale businesses.
Yeah, I'm from. I was born in Bengal, in Calcutta,
Okay.
and so I have you know, people up in Darjeeling, family members in Darjeeling, and I'm aware of that the tea that's there in the back of my sort of in my ancestry in a way, and the kind of one of the stereotypical images is of the woman tea picker,
With
the very
the red
poor.
lips and the beautiful big busts, like so happy out in the beautiful
Yeah,
scenery. Yeah.
yeah, maybe I haven't got. Yeah, the image I have is of the headband with the basket, holding the basket on the back, and just picking leaves and throwing them into
I
the
think there
basket
is a
on the back.
there's a functional reason for, as far as I know,
For the
correct me if
basket.
I'm wrong, but there's a functional reason for women being tea pickers, and that's just because they're more deft than men in general.
They weren't
Or
what?
death.
They're more deft with their fingers. They're more accurate. They can pick better, and they can also, like in the cigar world, the women are specifically in charge of sorting the cigars by color because they can see more shades. They can see the differentiation in the shades of the cigars. You know, when they pick 25 cigars to go in a box, they want them all to be kind of the same color instead of like this random assortment of colors. And so they use women for that because they're just better at it than we are.
I see plenty of men doing a great job plucking tea.
Yeah, there's a part of me that feels like that's the way of just bypassing a thing that they don't want to do. Saying, I don't do that well, so you do it.
I've got clumsy fists.
Yeah, I just don't know. How do I do? And I'm kind of thinking about my ex right now, so forgive me for projecting that onto the situation. I just don't do the dishes as good as you do.
Oh, yeah, that's like the ultimate gaslight about like the.
Because I just don't know how to fold my laundry. You're so much better at it than me.
No, not that far. Not that far.
Just because I'm good at it doesn't mean I like it, right?
That excuse doesn't fly.
What doesn't fly?
I thought that was totally like okay. That's part of
I do that to
admitting.
Hannah all the time.
That's part of admitting that they're better.
I'll tell you what though, when the women are out in the tea fields in Darjeeling, which is true, it's all women. The men are doing other things. We won't talk about what the men are doing because I don't want to make any negative judgments here. But like, what the women are out
Playing
in the
the
fields.
biscuit game.
Yeah, they're definitely not feeling sexy. They're definitely not like wearing their best makeup with the shiny red lipstick. They're definitely not wearing their most beautiful sari. They're wearing like, you know, like their work clothes, and they're sweating hard, and their hair is all over, and they're not all over, it's like up, but like, you know, they're working. So like they're not like ready to go out like looking sexy and nice. But that's the image that's used in all the marketing and even on the logo for Darjeeling, like the seal for Darjeeling tea has the image of the beautiful women, like in her sari, like out in the fields, and that in itself has done a whole lot of harm in like keeping women there,
Right.
you know, or keeping women at the tea service. Like in China, like the place for a woman in tea is like wearing beautiful garb and like sitting at the tea table and doing like really graceful service and serving others, not, you know, doing other things. You know, that's for the men. The men will take care of the money. The men will take care of the business. You know, so then when someone like me comes around trying to take care of the business, you know, like I deal with a lot of like mansplaining and a lot of gaslighting and a lot of like things that like I shouldn't be dealing with, you know, and trying to do the work I'm doing.
So how did you get into it?
It's a long story. But I'm a food scientist.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and then I became a Peace Corps volunteer, and then I worked for a tea company, and but I've been doing this particular business for 10 years now, and it's pretty well established. But I work completely alone, except for me and this guy. We work together. He's my CFO. Big Wayne, say hello to everybody. Come on. He's like, okay, he's tired. He's like, I worked too hard today. Yeah, it's a long story. You know, I don't know. Everybody here is, well, Olivia, you haven't. And Charlotte, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, Huntsman.
Charlotte, so great to
Hi.
see you here.
Hey.
Hi, Charlotte.
Well,
Ansaman and Charlotte, you guys know each other?
We do.
We do, yes.
Yes. I'm not sure if we're here on the
Charlotte
same mission,
helped out
but
with
yes,
my-
we do know each other.
Charlotte helped out in my room at one of the Kinky Salon parties.
Wonderful.
Oh, awesome.
Polly's superstar. She is such a superstar. She brought us all these
She
lovely
is.
friends.
Mhm.
I know Polly.
Yeah.
I live in Las Vegas, so I know Polly through here in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I told her about Topia, and she's working with Sam to potentially use this platform for an event.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how. I guess that's how you both heard about it, which is wonderful.
Yeah. She said go check it out, so I'm here checking it out.
Yeah. Aw, perfect.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we meet here every Thursday and Monday. So on Thursdays we meet from 2 p.m. on Pacific time. Sorry, I didn't include that. And then on Mondays we meet at 5 Pacific, and you are welcome. Another thing that I should communicate to you and get your consent from is that I live stream this on Thursdays. So this is currently streaming to the internet. So if you don't consent to that, please let me know.
Oh, you're streaming the.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I consent. That's
Cool.
okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And we talk about lots of things, but ultimately we just drink tea together and talk about tea. We
What rating is the stream?
what rate? Oh, you know, it's anything. It's my stream, so
Okay.
you know, anything goes.
Yeah, we were just talking
Probably no
about
nudity.
procreation. So I think.
Okay.
And yeah, procreation, sex, and gender, which are all three very different things. So we were talking about
Yeah.
that.
We haven't talked about poop yet today.
Oh, we
Oh,
kind of
good.
did, but we could talk about poop.
Well, so I know you tried to call me out when I stepped away earlier as to that I was going to the bathroom, and actually, what I was doing was getting food that was brought to me, and then I went to the bathroom. So anyway. But it's because I had so much tea, right? So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Oh, so was it number one? It wasn't a number two?
I didn't go into specifics.
Yeah.
You filled in the blank on your own.
I mean, I guess tea, like coffee, like it instigates number two. It's not just a number one thing. Yeah.
Oh man, my old boss at my previous job back when I went into an office, his favorite joke was to say what are two things you do after you drink a cup of coffee?
What's that?
Number one and then number two. Yeah, number one and then number two. Yeah.
You got
It-
so a couple days ago we asked Alexa to tell us some jokes, and that was one of the jokes she told me. It was the first time I heard it.
Oh no, Alexa stole it from my guy. Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
what
I was like,
happened.
wait, what?
Yes. Sure.
I was like, she's brilliant. That's a great
I
joke.
mean this joke was from before Alexa, so I mean I don't know. Maybe it was circling
It's a lot of
goal
jokes just
for a while.
float. Yeah. They
Yeah.
float.
Especially jokes
I sent the other
like
joke
this, number two
two at
jokes.
least.
Jeez.
A lot of jokes sink also.
Yeah,
It depends on what you've been
they
eating.
stink.
I don't know. My guess is that Alexa's been listening to all of us and compiling bad jokes. So she heard it from your friend, but not directly.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
She sang us a song. Did you guys know that she sings?
how's her voice?
Great. She sang us a song about s'mores.
Was it an original?
Yeah.
Oh wow, creative.
Yeah.
Super creative.
I had never had so much fun with the house robot. Like, I'm not actually a fan of the house robot, but that was the most accepting I've been of her.
Have you asked her to do anything like bad or naughty or evil?
Those are a lot of categories, Sam.
Well, yeah.
Which direction are we going here? Sinister?
Let's start with naughty.
With naughty? No, I haven't asked anything naughty. What would you ask of her that's naughty?
I had a Google Home, and I definitely remember asking it to tell us a dirty joke, and it told us something about a vacuum.
Yeah.
That sucks. Sorry. Really sorry.
Rihanna says that you should ask your Alexa to fart.
No, don't do it. No, no, you don't understand.
Do
No,
it.
this is no, you don't understand. This is a whole thing. Like, there are people that would like make chain videos, but no, don't do it. It's a trap. A trap. Do not fall for it.
Thanks, Rihanna. Thanks for trapping us and trapping us in your farts.
Alexa fart loop. So the Alexa that I talk to has been named Computer, so it's like Star Trek.
Oh, cool.
It's great.
That's a good. Those are great. What did I do?
Have you asked?
But
have
it's
you asked
funny
her to compute
because
the last digit of
She
pi?
gets turned on all the time.
Yeah, what?
Compute the what stages of pi?
The last digit of pi. That's how Kirk, I think, screwed up one of the
The
computers.
last digit.
Yeah. It went computing and then eventually caught fire or something. I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
I love it.
I gave my Siri on my iPhone a Scottish accent, and she's a lady, because I don't know, I wanted more diversity in my life, I guess.
She cannot know the recipe for banana bread.
Is that just to counteract all the French people around you? You need a Scottish accent?
Maybe you've read my subconscious in some way that I never could. Maybe like that. That could be it. I don't know. No, I love it here. These people are great, even though they're French.
So, it's really great here.
I love my Alexa.
I'm just gonna keep blinking until someone figures out that I'm in distress, and then we.
I think one of the funniest things that I've seen with an Alexa in a long time, it was like early pandemic, and I was on a Zoom call with like 30 or 40 people, and somebody just goes, "Alexa, play Barry White." And like 4 people's Alexas started going off.
That's very
No, the kids are awful with the technology, like those kinds of pranks. Like, I am just about to turn 30, but I went back to university for a little bit to take a couple classes, and these freshmen with their iPhones, like they'll airdrop, like using the iPhone, they'll send like pictures and memes to just anybody who doesn't have their phone secured. And so you can be sitting in an auditorium with like 200 people, and your phone will buzz, and it'll just be some random kid in the back that'll just be like, hey, it's like a funny like a Futurama meme or something like that, or like some like obscene thing. Like, people will prank you with the technology. They'll do it. The kids are.
So Don just
Kids
wanted
are
to let
brutal.
us know that his Alexa is playing Barry White right now. So thank you very much.
Yes.
Hope I didn't dox myself with
Joe,
my
do you
age.
guys have an Alexa?
Do we?
Who, me?
Yeah,
Kelvin.
Joe. Sorry.
Oh,
Charlotte
yeah.
doesn't
I
have
don't
one.
do none of the voice stuff. I'm very analog. I type everything.
I work for Apple, so I have to have HomePods. It's required. So
Gotcha.
Do you actually
Yeah,
work for
that's
Apple?
Siri.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I do.
Cool.
It's required. Do you have to have?
I
them
just
plugged
got
in?
my first.
No, it works better with the phone. I have to have an iPhone. That is required.
Yeah, my house is digitally silent most of the time. But we don't have a TV. We don't
You're
have.
like, we have tapestries and tea.
T-Box is as advanced technologically that we get. It's nice.
I mean, it's my PC is very nice. I built it with my buddy, so like I have the computing power that I need, and I could probably set myself up to do whatever. But for the most part, stuff remains off unless I want it on specifically. So usually it's like just some hand pan in the background or something. That's about it.
Sure.
Or some modern elevator music.
Yeah, some lo-fi.
Uh-oh.
Lo-fi.
Oh, man, lo-fi.
So basic.
Yeah, you know what's not lo-fi is Jeremy's beard decor today. It
That is
not
high freaking fi right there. Or just high, one of the two.
I wasn't sure if we were going to talk about it or not. I wasn't sure if it was a topic.
No, it's a regular thing, so we don't really talk about it much.
Okay.
No,
Jeremy is our resident beard artist, and every week he blesses us with a new piece of beard art. And at some point, we definitely are going to put together a calendar.
Yep.
Well, what I want Kayla with her digital art skills that she's amassing. I want her to start doing portraits, right? Like whatever.
Oh, like while we're in here.
I mean, if you want to. I mean, it's an idea, but like
I could
Jeremy
draw
doing all this
Jeremy's
work.
beard every week.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy is your muse. Is that muse?
He's newsworthy.
And
Third Five's muse.
and if you want a sketch exercise, I mean, there you go, right?
That's some advanced stuff.
Good vibes. That's all I have to say.
What we should do is that after
That's
you
a good
sketch
idea.
it, now we need to sketch it, digitize it, and sell it as filters.
Yeah.
So it's like the Jeremy art filter.
Jeremy Weird one. Yeah. This is a great idea.
Yes.
We could turn Jeremy into an NFT, guys.
Yeah, lots of NFTs.
We're going places with this idea.
T-Docs just got rich in like one conversation.
I got a lot of my questions about NFTs answered, by the way. So I did my own independent research because when I first heard about them, I was so confused. I was like, why would anybody care about an NFT? But I didn't realize that most of the NFTs are backed by Ethereum. That's the Ethereum blockchain. I didn't realize that, and so now that I realize that, it's a whole it's way more.
What did that
understand it better
specifically?
Well, because Ethereum has value, right? And so my problem with NFTs were, what's stopping somebody from having an NFT on a blockchain that doesn't matter, right? If it's okay, there's a blockchain, but what if it's like anybody can make a blockchain,
right?
But it's the Ethereum blockchain,
right?
Which has
value,
yeah, because it's the Ethereum blockchain, right? Which is it's directly related to any currency you can convert Ethereum into, including the value of Ethereum itself, and so that's what changed it for me. So.
I don't know what these words mean.
Sure. Basically, as long as cryptocurrency has value, NFTs will have value. Is basically what it is.
What is Ethereum? It sounds like something that you put in the warp core to make the starship go.
It's worse Bitcoin. I'm trying to keep it very simple.
The number 2 cryptocurrency next.
Yeah.
The number 2 cryptocurrency.
It is the number 2 cryptocurrency. Yes.
But it's not a shitcoin. No. It's
not a shitcoin?
No, it's not a shitcoin.
It looks, tastes, and feels the same as Bitcoin. It's essentially the same thing. It says on it, I can't believe it's not Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So,
It's like how the go ahead.
If I had my speakers on, because I have my headset in, but if I had my speakers on, this guy would not be sleeping still. He'd be like, what's going on? His name
What's your dog's name?
His name is Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, No, I know.
But he's like,
he'd be freaking out.
Not amused at all, because he's not registering any of this. But yeah, his name is Bitcoin. Yeah. Oh, he's so tired today.
He's asleep.
It's kind of like
He
how
didn't even make it to 60K again. How is he? He's got to get running.
But not all NFTs are backed by Ethereum. There's something called
they're not.
clean NFTs. So there are other blockchains that are more adaptive and requiring less energy than Bitcoin or Ethereum. The one that I've been hearing a lot about that people are excited about is Tezos. I don't know if you've.
Oh, I have heard of Tezos. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard it's
But-
like really like
But
flexible.
the reason the clean NFTs can exist and Tezos in general is because the really, 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 really expensive NFTs are on the other one, right? And so it's like one gives value to the other simply by existing. Like the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. Like the Canadian dollar is strictly worse. But as long as you convert it to US dollars, I mean, we'll be okay, I think.
Yeah, I mean there's questionable whether or not people are going to be able to want to convert stuff to U.S. dollars for long.
Sure.
If we just keep printing it, because
Yeah, right.
we make it up.
Oh God, is this where we're taking the conversation?
We got
Okay,
paper
I'm
I
ready.
mean, I would rather go and debate why people put fungicides on their tea to begin with.
Sure.
Because tea is so much better when you don't use fungicide.
Charlotte is thoroughly confused.
No, I was thinking because our currency is the fiat currency, which I don't have a problem with. But people are like, we should have the gold standard. And I'm like, you're all nuts. But that aside, you could back your currency with a cryptocurrency, or you just make your own. Just like how we have our own fucking Bitcoin system.
Wouldn't that be wild?
Yeah. It is probably the only useful thing I can think of to do with blockchain.
Yeah.
So that sort of blew my mind. So
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that gives currency value is the fact that other people will accept it in exchange for goods.
It's a
That's
value.
the value of it. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
this, like,
right.
Currency is a value
trust.
specifically.
But to print more cryptocurrency, you have to solve an exponentially harder problem. That's how it works. And you can
Right.
set that
Man.
scale. But because then the government's like, okay, if you want to print another $1 trillion, it's a lot more work than the last trillion. I'm like, that's kind of what you want.
Not like we just
Each
have to
trillion
add
should be harder.
zeros to this account and there we got it. You know?
I mean, that's kind of what they
Yeah.
do, is they just
That's
add
what they're doing
zeros
right
to the
now.
account and give them to all their buddies.
Yes.
We just keep making less and less centralized currency until we don't need currency anymore, right? That's the Star Trek dystopian future I want, where money is such a foreign idea, right? With, like, and Kirk and Spock are like, money? What do you do with it? Like, what is this? I'm making Star Trek references for Kayla.
Yeah. So we'll just replicate some more.
I mean, why not?
That's a bad use of a replicator, though.
Yes.
Charlotte, I bought my first Apple product,
Oh, which is it?
and
Which
I'm
one
trying
is it?
the iPad
Oh,
because I want to
Sweet.
do art. And I spent all yesterday with user error, like trying to get logged into my Apple ID because I hadn't used it in like a long time, and I was just like, I'm not used to this. So, I'm
Sorry
making a
about-
transition.
yeah. The iPads are really nice. So
It's the only Apple
Yeah, I'm
product
excited.
I have that
It's-
I like.
It's the only one you have that you like.
Yeah, I have an old MacBook Pro, and it's like acceptable, but otherwise, the iPad Pro is great. I don't think I could stand to use an iPhone.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
This iMac
What type
is
of
the
work do
only
you
one.
do with the company?
me?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, can I ask? Yeah, whatever you would like to
I'm
disclose.
getting more uncomfortable, but yeah, I work on WatchOS. I do contacts and calendar sync for WatchOS.
Okay. Don't worry, none of us are going to force you to tell us how much you love Apple.
No,
That's
it's more that I might say something accidentally and then get in trouble. So
Okay, well, let's move on. Let's talk about
On a-
Android.
on a
Man,
live
wow,
stream.
Google. All right, let's.
Yeah, so how about that, Google?
Oh.
I was
Ah,
trying
I don't
to,
know.
to stream gaming on Tuesday. So Tuesday nights I want to stream gaming now. And I
What did
found,
you
like,
try to play?
So there's a tea farm simulator game.
Oh, you were talking about this. That's right.
What?
Yeah, it's a tea farm simulator game. So I was like, okay, I'll play this game. It's on Steam. I'm not a gamer. I don't have Steam. I had to create all that from scratch. I downloaded Steam, made my account, and turns out that it's a Windows game. So I'm like, fuck.
Oh, you should have reached out to me. I could have helped you with that. Steam's
maybe
really
you can
scary when
still
you first look at it.
Yeah,
Sure.
maybe you could have helped me, but then I learned about wine. So then I spent like 2 hours.
No, no, no.
Unlike
Oh,
You can try.
no, there's no.
Wait, is
I'm sorry,
wine
no,
not
it's-
good? Is wine not good?
I basically, so if you were talking about getting Steam on the Mac, you're already opting into something that looks like a virus, but isn't. And so I'm just imagining your experience going through creating this account. And I'm just like, oh goodness, she needs a Sherpa in the worst possible way. And then you start to get into wine, and I'm just thinking, God, like the menus that you must have gone through, or I can't even imagine someone like who's not used to that kind of experience going into it and then not being overwhelmed is what I'm trying to say. Like,
I got a little overwhelmed towards the end. I did.
Yeah, I'm not trying to discredit you or anything. I'm just trying. I feel bad mostly.
How are your tea plants doing?
I never got the game set up. No, I got wine set up. I did. I got it set up and actually got Steam to open with wine. And I was like, oh, cool. I got it to open. Yeah,
Wait.
yay. I learned. Windows-based Steam. I got it to open with my wine.
Yeah.
But then it didn't actually populate with anything. And I'm like, what?
No,
like,
no.
Nothing's here. Okay, I give up. I'm just going to stream about NFTs.
Wait,
At least
what's
I
the
understand
name-
NFTs a little better.
What's the name of the game?
The name of it is called Two Leaves in a Bud.
Cute.
Yeah.
2 leaves in a bud.
Yeah. It's an indie game. It just launched like on April 15th. The reviews of it are limited. It says, like this is like it's like a early beta version of it. So like there's still more development to happen on it, but I was like, I want to do gaming. I'm gonna do gaming, but like I only do tea streaming, so like it's got to be tea related. So I was like, oh, here's a game I could play that's tea related, and then I can pretty much be assessing while I play the game to like let everybody know, oh, this is accurate or this is not how it's done, or you know what I mean? Because like I'm sure that it's not culturally and technically accurate to how tea farming is actually.
This does seem like your kind of game, yeah.
I mean,
See, that's what you need to do.
it sounds like
You
there's a
need to create
consulting
your own line
opportunity
of
here for
DLC
us.
for the game.
They need to bring you on as a consultant. That's what they need.
Yeah, there's a consulting opportunity here, and we can probably like be their community hub here at topia.io/teahouse. So when people are playing, they can, because it's a single player game. So when people are playing, they could also hang out with other tea farmers here in the tea house.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. That'd be so
Wow.
cool.
I'm interested in this.
We're like booming with ideas today.
I got a group today.
Well, they
Yeah.
are supposedly like the game developers. They're based in India, and the article that I saw, like they were really proud that they had partnered with a tea estate, and so they are working with technical tea estate consultants. But it's a tea estate that's making like commercial grade tea that like I'm.
The fact that it's named 2 Leaves in a Bud kind of tells you that it's generalized.
Yeah. And like you can make matcha at this Indian tea factory, which is like no.
Hell yeah! I'd love me some Indian matcha.
Yeah, I read it. Some article came up on my Google or something, and I popped it open. It was trying to tell me about how like tea is all made with 2 leaves in a bud. And I don't know. It was an awful article, but it just reminded me of that. Like all tea is picked the same way. I'm like, no, not close.
Yeah, it's and that's what's interesting is that like in Nepal, the concept of the 2 leaves in a bud, they understand that like, hey, that's highest quality. If we want to make good tea that's going to get a good price, it all needs to be 2 leaves in a bud. Well, this factory opened up that I work with, and they're trying to make oolong tea. They're trying to make Taiwanese style oolong tea, and they brought all the equipment in, and they just kept practicing, and they never actually made the oolong tea. It was never coming out right. And then, I was visiting with them, and I was like, hey, oolong tea, you're supposed to be using what's called banjid leaf. Banjid leaf is like the more mature leaf. Like basically the bud opens, and there's no longer a bud. It's all just open full leaves. And that's what you actually harvest to make oolong tea, which for them, they thought, oh, that's inferior quality. Banjid leaf is not good. We shouldn't use that. And I said, well, different teas need different, plucking standards. It's just as important as like the withering protocol or, the rolling protocol or whatever else.
Yeah, but what about our 2 leaves in a bud from our 1,000-year-old trees picked by virgins?
Oh my gosh.
Under a full moon.
Virgin monkeys, yes. Yeah.
What did the tea plant say to the farmer when he watered it?
What?
Much obliged.
Oh,
Wow.
is that like another one of
Wow.
those Alexa jokes?
That was an Alexa joke. I was like, dang, she's on fire.
She is listening in on you, figuring out what your taste is.
Totally.
We've been having some good conversation today, like really good conversation.
Isn't it always like this?
Yeah, it's always like this. Yeah, but it's a little different. But like the only thing that is consistent is the accountability on the bowel movements. Like that is consistent.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's
We
beard.
look out.
It's all bowel movements and beard decoration. Like that's our thing here.
Always look out for number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always have like very intellectual, like learning, cultural restorative conversations. We like to take it there. It's important to us. It's important to tea.
And it's usually eclectic in that we go from one thing to another fairly. It seems like it's random when you look back at it.
We used to be organized.
Oh, it seems like it's random when you look back at it, but while you're in it, it makes complete sense.
I see.
Pretty much.
It'd be kind of amazing to hire somebody to do show notes and see how they come out, because that'd be a little chaotic.
I see where you're going with this. So this is what we do, right? Okay. So you're saying you want to put out a podcast, and with the thing about the podcast with the show notes and the sponsors, and maybe we make a little money off of it. The show art has to be Kayla's sketch of your beard. It has to be every week. This is all of these ideas coming together. See?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that we are kind of doing that right now. The transcripts from all of these streams are, being processed by a very intelligent algorithm machine. So from that, I guess anything could be processed.
Have you synced up with Justin? Are they working on it?
I'm not, I don't want to put pressure on it, but you know what I mean? And I'm not in a hurry about it. Like, at the beginning, I was kind of in a hurry about it, but now, I want to chill out about it, but, when the time is right, it'll happen.
Well, now that you've got a better lead on a boat.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, are you going to bring back some opium, too? Just like in true classic style? With all the tea.
No, Sam. And remember, we have AI machines listening to us, so please don't trigger anything.
No problem. You're right.
Because it is a
Save
big
it for the
fear,
Mondays.
It is a big fear, because everybody assumes that. That's always their first assumption is you're not really in the tea business. There's no way that you're really in the tea business. There's something else going on there.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
Really?
no.
You can just claim it as research. Well, I've been reading about the Opium Wars. I was just kind of curious how a whole war started over this. Let me give it a try.
Let me give it a
I'm
try.
doing research. Yeah.
Let me just
Worth a
give
shot.
it a go and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's for science, I swear.
Yeah, academic research.
Yeah.
All right, but I have to take off.
Yeah, I'm about to bounce too, so
Uh,
I got a meeting. So,
Jeremy, thank you for always for your
Yeah,
blessed presence and just all around awesomeness. Good vibes.
keep that up.
and also,
Jeremy, did you say that you have a meeting to go to?
Oh, that was me that said that.
Ghost joke.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it would be surreal to think that
Yeah.
Jeremy dressing up like this and then being like,
So
yeah,
about work?
I got places to be, man. I gotta.
He does though. Jeremy does go to. Like,
I believe it.
gathering. He does, and you know what? I was really happy to hear Olivia. You know, she's at those gatherings, and she knew about Jeremy's beard, which was good because we were really worried that Jeremy would do all of this and then take it all off and like. You know, it was like a secret part of his life that he didn't share with his friends. So it's great to know that you know about it.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more public. I have more of an obligation to bring this out to the world.
Yay!
I suggested that he would make a public account of weekly beard and like photos of it, and I was like, I feel like it would be a hit. People would really like it.
You could be an Instagram influencer.
That's what I said.
Oh, there you go.
I'd follow you.
I worry
I'd
that
follow
if
you
we
anyway, Jeremy.
try to turn this into some kind of social currency, that we get away from the spirit, right? The simple joy of the beard art. I think.
Well, we
I
don't know
think we
what
should.
the spirit
Right.
Jeremy really wants. It could be he's a fucking capitalist and wants to
Could-
just dominate the market with goofy beards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I
just
guess
thinking.
I'll never.
It all seems like an innocent project, and this is fun, but no.
Don't want it to be
All
your job.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye. Thanks for hanging out.
I'll see y'all later.
Hi, Jeremy. Have a good
Thank
meeting,
you
Joe.
for having me this week. I really enjoyed listening to all the conversations and being
Yeah.
involved.
You came.
We'll
came
come back
for
next
Thanks
week.
for coming.
I dare you.
You came for the spicy one for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoyed
Don't
it.
be
Thank
like Joe. Make sure you walk away. Be like Jeremy.
Yeah.
Heading out
Leave-
also.
Jeremy
Thank
leaves
you
the
all.
conversation. He just
disappears.
doesn't just disappear.
It is sort of the charm, yeah.
Great. Thanks.
I love
Good
it.
to meet you all guys.
Good to meet you too.
Are you going? Oh, good to meet you
Oh,
too.
I haven't. Oh,
Are we
everybody's different.
disintegrating?
Okay.
Wow.
Someone's leaving.
Yeah.
I keep clicking on something that's trying to teach me how to make gong fu cha.
Olivia,
Oh,
I
that's
dare
good.
you to come. I
That's
dare
like
you to come
yeah.
back next week.
tea.
Watch the dragon there, or the teapot.
Elise will teach you to make tea in that video.
Yep. Because I'm not doing it here. We're talking about poop. Sorry.
Yeah, we just talk shit here.
We just
Talking
talk
shit.
I think it's mostly just Elise that's talking about the poop. I think she keeps bringing it back to it, and I'm not really sure why.
I don't know. I mean, I've got a quota to hit, you know. Dawn.
The
Dawn's
bot
keeping
needs to
me
know.
You have a
accountable.
quota to hit?
Everybody's got a boss.
Yeah.
Wait, Elise, is Dawn still watching?
Probably. Dawn, you still watching?
Yeah.
Dawn is like, he's always instigating the poop talk. He loves it.
It's good.
That's funny. I don't have many bosses. Like, I haven't had a boss in a very, very long time. So, like, I'm in full support of shit being my boss. Like, full support of that.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Yep. No, I get it. You're beholden to your digestion. I understand.
We all are.
I know
You
how.
know, if people paid more attention about their gut, everybody would be much happier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is for sure. Bye, Rihanna. Rihanna's saying goodbye. She was watching on Facebook. That was sweet. I don't think Rihanna's ever hung out with us before. At least she's never like interacted on chat. She was the one that told us to tell the Alexa to fart.
Oh, cool.
She
gonna
swore it
remember.
wasn't a troll. She was like, "No, it's a good thing. Try it."
It's funny.
Man. Yeah, that was funny.
So wait, Dawn is still watching or no?
I guess not. Yeah, he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't comment. He must have left. The last thing that he said is, "I love Indian matcha." He says, "I hand grind my Darjeeling." That's a legit tea lover right there. That's like
Oh, yeah.
dedicated tea
There's always
lover.
somebody who's more into it than you are. There always is. It doesn't matter what it is. There's always somebody who's just a little bit more over the top.
Oh,
So Charlotte,
Charlotte, where are you
Always.
coming in from?
Yeah, that was where I was.
I'm sorry,
gonna-
what?
Where are you coming in from?
Oh, I'm from California.
Awesome. Me too.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm in Vegas.
Nice.
Have you been part of the kinky salon community for a long time?
About a year. I started in the pandemic.
Okay.
I everyone asked me how I found them, and I think it was a Facebook share or ad or something. Well, I don't remember.
Cool.
But yeah, it's
last-
basically. This sounds weird, and I'm not a spokeswoman for them, so it's. I think of them as like the kinky Girl Scouts. It's like we have a little pledge, and we all work together, and we do our fun group activities. But it's very much erotic.
Great. Do you get badges?
We should.
Yep.
We absolutely should.
At least electronic
I'll discuss it with
badges.
Polly.
That's very doable.
We could do badges and sashes. She'd fucking love it. I would.
Oh, that'd be sexy.
Well, I'm bringing this to the next meeting.
Tabling it for now, and then we'll pick it up at the next, and then we'll vote on it as a matter of.
Yeah, I haven't
Principle.
gone to any kinky salon gatherings before, but I know Polly through a mutual friend here that introduced us. She's great. I know her personally. We actually live near each other, so I've been to her place. But we were talking about sex work earlier. The very first thing that I learned, that Polly does, and I met was when she was organizing the stripper parade, which was like an advocacy event for sex workers. And she wanted to organize this whole parade and like day of awareness here in Las Vegas. She's trying to bring in different like local corporate sponsors to sponsor it, and just like I guess like in the Bay Area, she had a lot of movement on that, like, and members of the sex industry were very positive towards it, but I think she had a very different response here in Las Vegas. I think the industry and the culture here in Las Vegas is very different, so she had trouble executing that event here in Las Vegas, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Francisco has a very, I think it's sort of unique attitude towards sex and sexuality. I mean, I guess that's not really a surprise. But someone who's lived there, me, like for over 30 years now, he feels like everybody else is weird. And if it's like, why aren't you all doing the same thing? Because it's like, we're having a great time. Really? So
Everybody else is weird in what way?
like being uptight about it.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's like, why? It's honestly like, it's like, why do you care so much? Like, chill.
No,
it's like,
it's really just
to the everybody else. I mean.
uptightness. Yeah. It just kind of gets me.
Why do you care what me and this other person do behind a closed door?
Yeah.
And you're not my neighbor that complains about something noises coming through the wall.
Yeah.
It's the only person who's got a right to complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, like, you woke me up at 3 a.m. with your sexcapades. Please.
I had a neighbor like that.
Have sex, but less loud during these.
Just as proud, but less loud. Please.
Or maybe I'll wear earplugs.
Yeah, put a
That's
gag in it.
solution too. Yeah.
Well, I think
It's
that
like-
discomfort is kind of associated to what we were talking about earlier about the lack of distinction in general culture between like sex, gender, and sexuality. That those are all very different things. Whenever you're constantly confusing those things, like that's where there's all this room for judgment and insecurities and this weirdness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the
I'm
hardest
sorry,
part is, go ahead.
Kayla, I cut you off first, so that's why I wanted to let you say what you wanted to say.
Oh, just like how Charlotte was talking about San Francisco, and you go somewhere else and it's weird, like, why aren't people like this? It was like that in Eugene when I left, and I'm like, you mean people aren't just like, how are you feeling today? And then like present and caring about your response to that question? Or like, what's your rising sign? Like, I'm in the grocery checkout and I like know everybody's sun, moon, and rising. And that's just normal.
That's pretty cool.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
And then I
not
come to
normal.
Southern Arizona and I'm just like, there's a dude on the corner, like, waving 2 Trump flags and like being really upset about things that don't even impact them.
Yeah.
Like, I need to stand on a corner and talk about how much this thing that's not even in my life, like, I don't know, gender, sexuality,
Kayla,
whatever.
It's very important that you know exactly why you're wrong, and it's very important that I tell you. So
I'm taking the day off of work to stand on the corner and tell you about
yes.
So yeah, it was a transition.
Did you ask him his rising sign?
I should have. That's such a good idea. Are you an Aries rising? Because this is kind of confrontational.
That's really good. I like that.
He's like, I actually have a Cancer moon. That would be great.
Oops, that's me walking away. Sorry. Yeah, no, we had a Trump supporter here in my town who would stand in the middle of a. I'm not trying to one up you. I'm just relating.
No.
Four-way intersection.
I don't feel that way.
4 lanes wide. So busy suburban California, and he stood in the fucking middle of that intersection with the red lights and everything, and just held his fucking Trump sign. Proud as fuck. Mentally ill, I think. Not because of the Trump thing, but the standing in traffic thing.
Yeah. I noticed earlier something that I wanted to come back to. I noticed Charlotte said, because it's nuts, and earlier we were talking about using the word crazy, and I was noticing how that landed with me, and I was like, yeah, that felt good to me. Do you guys? No. Does anyone have any nuts versus crazy?
It definitely
Is
didn't feel
that
bad to
a
me.
loaded word? Yeah.
Oh, the word nuts.
Yeah, how does the word nuts fall on that scale? Definitely,
no,
crazy is definitely.
I have to think about it. Nuts. I can't. I mean, off the dome, I can't think of a connotation that is.
Yeah, I mean,
it's one way or the other with the needle, right?
Well, it always goes down to connotation. If you're calling somebody nuts, that's different than saying the situation was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always, to me, it comes back to what is the intention of what you're trying to communicate. Are you trying to communicate that somebody is not right in the head? If you're doing that, then you need to be a little more gentle with how you do that than if you're just describing a situation or using it for emphasis or something like that.
Right, and within both of those, so tell me if you agree with this. When we look at crazy versus nuts, and we're talking about these words in the charged situation you're talking about, where we're using it to describe another person. Crazy.
Or a dog. Or a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in the person sense. When you say crazy, if you think about how the word is typically used in that sense, it feels like it skews more female than male. Right? It feels like you call someone crazy more often people will kind of throw that off the cuff. It's the crazy bitch thing over again, right? And that's what makes it sexist. Nuts, I don't know if nuts has anything like that, a racial, sexual, gender, any kind of connotation. But that's what I'm looking for when I think about, is this a problem? Is it a problem when using this word at all? And I genuinely don't think so. But if there's an example that I'm missing, please.
No, and I'm not trying to make the point that I think that it's an offensive word. I actually found it quite playful and pleasing.
It is, yeah.
When it was said, but it just led to the idea.
Sure,
it's a good question, and I think the thing what I've come up with is that you can't really know if a word offends anybody unless they tell you it offends them, because they're just gonna have to speak up. And
yeah, sure.
If crazy offends people, which it did, they spoke up, and it's okay, fine, I'll cross it off my list. But no one said anything about nuts. But I could see again, it's kind of the same word.
Yeah.
Okay. But until someone tells me, I'll probably still continue to use it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like you. I feel like I come from a base case of if somebody is not comfortable with me using certain words, or would prefer certain pronouns, or just prefer I'm always down to make people around me more comfortable. That's why we have etiquette, right? That's why we say please and thank you. That's why we do a lot of the things in society is to make the people around us more comfortable. And if there's anything I can do to make people around me more comfortable, I have no problem doing it. So that's where I'm coming from with that. So if you ask me not to use the word crazy, I won't.
So
No.
right, like I'm just like imagining now like a group of girls talking about like, let's say there's a relationship between a man and a woman, and like they're in a fight or something, like they're whatever, and like I'm imagining the girl going and talking to her girlfriends about it, and the guy going to talk to his guy friends about it, and they both have the same judgment about, you know, the whatever. Like, it is more likely that when the guy's talking, he's going to use the term crazy. Oh, she's crazy. She thinks this. But when if it's legitimately talking about someone's, like, mental state, mental health, and how the relationship's working, when the woman's talking about it behind his back to her friends, she's going to be using, like, more technical terms, like, more appropriate terms about, like, maybe mentally unstable, or like, you know, like I've never heard any of my girlfriends saying that their relationship he's crazy, like, but you always hear the men say that about the woman. You're so right about that.
Yeah, it feels like you hear one more than the other.
But the women don't just go to asshole.
Oh well, yeah, they'll go to that.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a word.
Jerk, yeah.
I think that's
Right,
I think that might be the
women go to asshole and go to crazy bitch.
And it
maybe,
depends on the
yeah.
group of friends, because me and my friends are like, or if I'm describing the situation, it's like, and then he was projecting his blah blah blah. Like, I get all like
It's very
into the
technical.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not all women or men. Like,
yes, that's true.
you know,
That is
some
very
people will
true.
be like, yeah, that asshole, you should just forget him, or she was being crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's something there's something, at least for me, the idea like bitches be crazy, like
Yeah.
that just has
funny,
like
I'm
a
sorry.
ring to it that it doesn't. I don't look at that as. I can totally see where it like crosses many lines for other people. And for me, it just has this like pleasing, the way that it feels to me, and the way that it rolls off the tongue and sounds like, I don't know what's up with it. But
Yeah.
I definitely can see where that's something that could totally trigger lots of people.
Yeah, I can understand, like, there's a scenario where people are just really behaving, I don't know, irrationally, and it's like amusing from the outside, and it's not, like, it's really silly, like people arguing about a price or something like that, and using the phrase to describe that situation, versus like men as a whole using the phrase to say that like women are always crazy, when a lot of the times they're like bypassing the actual harm that's being done, that's like triggered the like irrational behavior, quote unquote. Because a lot of times the irrational behavior is an appropriate response to being disrespected or whatever the case is. And it's just a real easy way for men to like just use that phrase to be like, yeah, women are just crazy, rather than like, wow, yeah, I did something that was pretty hurtful.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but I resonate with also the way that you're seeing it. It can be a pleasing thing to say about like your friends who are bickering.
Yeah,
Like-
well, it usually is followed up with like "yo" for some reason. But it's always like, "Bitches be crazy, yo." I don't know why.
Yeah,
Just the
it's AAVE. The African American vernacular. What's the last letter? Anyways,
I'm lost. What?
that phrase, bitches be crazy, yo, is AAVE. And I don't know the actual acronym. What it's African American Vernacular English, I think. And it's legitimately a language that's like recognized in textbooks and spoken, and it's appropriated by a lot of white people. And that's another whole topic.
Sure.
But
Wild.
yeah.
Well, this has been a very fun visit. It's been fun hanging out. I'm gonna
Sure.
take off though.
Sure,
Okay.
Thanks
thank
for
you so much
coming.
Sweet, everyone.
being-
Thank you for coming and saying hi, Charlotte.
Have a great rest of your
Yeah,
week.
come again.
Bye.
I'll walk away because it's neat.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Bye.
civilized.
It's very civilized that way.
That's great. So Polly posted about this in their Slack. That's so nice.
Yeah, I'm meeting with her tomorrow to talk a little bit.
Awesome. Cool, cool. You know, once she gets the hold of this and like builds her own world, it'll be insane. You know, because there's so many incredibly talented people part of her network, or their network. You know, because it's not just her. It's
Right.
you know, it's a big community of very intelligent, you know, talented people involved in really cool projects. That other project, you know, doing tea in the clock tower. Wow.
That sounded really cool.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get in touch with him.
Through Polly.
Yeah, okay, I'll ask Polly. Because, yeah, I want to put him in touch with Ray. I think, like, if he's going to be doing that work, Ray definitely, you know, should be involved because...
Yeah, I'll definitely be telling Polly that I talked to both Osnaman and Charlotte.
Yeah.
And yeah,
They were delightful.
Perfect.
and that's the Topia magic right there. Is like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna come and see what's happening before I go to bed, and 2 hours later,
Right. Well, I mean, like Kayla dragged me in, right? And then now I just keep coming back. God knows why, but what up with?
You like it spicy.
I do like it spicy.
helps the poops.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah,
I like my bowel movements being made fun of. I think that's why. I think I just keep coming back because I like being hurt.
I don't know, spicy bowel movements, they're a little painful sometimes.
As long as you've got a good bidet, it's fine.
Couple red pepper emojis. Well, I mean, Kayla's been teaching me about how to, take care of my biome. Lots of kombucha, lots of yogurt, all that good stuff.
Good.
So yeah, I got a healthy
Gotta
gut.
be careful with the kombucha though,
Yeah.
because it is really sugary.
Yeah.
But
Gotta make sure those bacteria
yeah.
are happy.
it's only because I had to redo my biome. It was great. I just got a call from the doctor that my culture is not growing anymore. So hooray!
Congratulations.
All right.
It worked. So yay, antibiotics
Okay.
are useful sometimes, and rebuild your gut when you're done.
Yeah.
Get some socks.
Which,
I didn't know you were cultured.
Yeah, I had a UTI for a little bit there.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I was really reluctant to take antibiotics because, hippie culture and like, that was my belief. But yeah, I was having pain and it wasn't going away. All the like things I was doing to try to fix it, and took antibiotics, and it was like kind of tough on my body, but I feel really good now, and I feel even better the more I'm like eating well and taking probiotics and prebiotics.
Yeah.
So thank you, Elise and Don, for talking about prebiotics. Yeah.
Antibiotics are great, like when used appropriately. The problem is, it's like anytime you have anything wrong, it's like, antibiotics. And it's like, then you end up with elderly people with antibiotic like immunities, and now the antibiotics don't work when they actually need them.
Yeah. I went back to the clinic where I had the original test done to make sure that it was cleared. And before the test was even cleared, they gave me another round of more potent antibiotics. And they were like, just start taking this. And I was like, no. Like I got the prescription and it's in my fridge in an apocalypse scenario. If something major happens and I need antibiotics, I'll have them. But yeah, they were just like, oh yeah, keep taking your antibiotics, like, and I'm like, but I don't need them. And you just were like freely prescribing them, and you do this all, for everybody.
And most people take
So
them.
Yeah.
most people take them, and they stop halfway through, and then there's like a more strong bacteria or whatever they're fighting.
Yeah. I think healthcare is hard, you know, and I think, I mean, I applaud you for taking charge of it, you know, like I feel like healthcare is so difficult that we kind of don't have a choice but to prescribe these options that just work the best for the most amount of people, and it's really on the user to do their due diligence. And so the fact that you,
I mean, that's right there. Like, I think what you've nailed on is, with that, it's on the user to do their diligence. That people have, would it be the right word to say that they've abdicated responsibility of their own health to their doctor?
Sure.
And to the healthcare system? Like, it's no longer my responsibility to keep me healthy. It's the healthcare system's responsibility to keep me healthy.
Yeah.
And that's like not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The system is pretty messed up, and it's like each of us have a body, right? And we don't even get a school or like a class in school that's like, this is your body and this is how it works, like in the sense of all these topics, you know, antibiotics, gut biome, mental health. You know, we have to like go and seek that out on our own, unless we're fortunate enough to be in a culture. Sorry, Elise?
Fertility health.
Fertility health, thank you.
God.
Yeah, we get like a 1-day course on you get a period.
Well,
and then there's babies.
Well, so that's because our healthcare industry is so privatized and profit driven that somehow it has managed to exert influence over our education system.
Yeah.
Because they have the money, they can sway the politics. And there's no money in curing things. There's money in treatment.
Okay. Before this becomes too interesting of a discussion, I actually do have to go, because I want to engage this on so many levels. But I'm gonna take the dog for a walk, so I'm gonna cut in to cut out. So bye, everybody. Thank you for having me again.
Bye.
Daniel, we love you.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Oh, I love you guys too. I came back just to say that. Okay, bye.
It's like, oh yay.
Hey, Don's back. Just letting you know, Sam, and he said that he takes 100 billion CFU a day of probiotics.
Rock on.
CFU, what kind of unit of measurement is that?
Colony forming units.
What was the measurement? How many? The number?
100 billion.
That's a lot of
That
colony
seems like
forming units.
Yep, that is a lot of colony forming units. Yep.
But now that Dawn's back, does that mean we can get Alexa play "Baby Got Back"?
I love it. I'm sitting on the stool.
I'm gonna go as well. You know, we've had a good run today.
We had a good one today.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Poor Joe.
We're on a roll with this no agenda. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
And talking shit all day.
Talking shit.
But it's good. It's like it's educational and all of that, so it's good. Don says, well, there are studies that show that certain strains of probiotics will all digest some things that your kidneys would normally process when you're in kidney failure. So probiotics are great. So yeah, Don is dealing with kidney failure. So yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's good. It's good that you've found that, and I hope it's helping you.
Yeah.
Helping you feel better. Bitcoin has slept the entire time as well.
So has Maya.
That's different. I mean, Maya's usually kind of sleepy unless Hannah's home.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin is like, I want snacks. What are you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, he had
Yeah,
some
Maya
good-
hasn't moved. Hey, you.
That's interesting because usually isn't it Maisie that's like, is she there too?
Maisie's come in a few times, but she's, I think, laying on her back on our bed, just like paws up in the air.
Oh, that's cute.
Last time I walked in, she was just like belly up, sprawled out, taking up an entire king size bed.
She's like, this is my bed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I'm gonna go too.
Alrighty.
I have a movie date.
Oh.
So
Enjoy the movie. What are you watching?
yeah. I don't know. We might just watch like YouTube videos or something. We watched Lasagna Cat one time. Have you guys seen these?
No.
It's a rabbit hole. It's like Garfield cartoons acted out by like real life people in costumes, and then like really bizarre commentary in the form of like music videos or obscure, I don't know, just imaging. It's very,
Is this
very
connected
weird
to the
and funny.
furry community?
I don't, maybe because he is my friend that showed it to me.
Hmm.
But there's a whole bunch of them, and they're just really weird. But yeah, I will see you guys on Monday.
Bye bye.
See you next.
Bye.
Bye. Love you all.
Bye,
Love
Lise.
you.
Whew, yeah, that was a heavy one. That was fun though. That was really great fun. I'm gonna take us to go hang out with our friend Jason. He actually may be finishing soon, but we'll still read him all the same. He raps. Whoops. Careful, Big Fire. What fell? Oh, that was my water bottle. My water bottle fell. Yes, boy. Yes, you good boy. Yeah, let's go see our friend Jason. Yeah, looks like he's in his thing, doing his thing. Let's go watch some rapping. Bitcoin, yeah, let's go watch some rapping. It'll be fun. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow night for Best Life Friday. Much love. Have a great rest. Be well. Oh, Bitcoin, yeah, be well, boy. We'll see everybody tomorrow.